Hi, it's Amanda from Always in Love. We're back with our next review. Today we are doing the Matchmaker's Playbook by Rachel Van Dyken, and I will tell you a little bit about it. So these two guys, one of them is Ian Hunter, and he was a football player who got drafted, in the early stages of college, and he played in the NFL, and then he got injured, so he had to go back to college to get his degree. And he started this company with his best friend. It's kind of like a dating app or a Tinder type thing, but it's much more hands on because they actually use a lot of numbers and things like that to uh, match you with someone who you're going to be more compatible with, someone who you're going to have more of a long time chance with, and then they help whoever their client is kind of catch the eye of the other person through different methods, making them jealous, just all the kind of other things to really catch someone's eye and, make them open their eyes, basically. And then, so the book starts where they're meeting their first female client, who is a student athlete volleyball player named Blake, and she is a real challenge because she's an athlete that pretty much only wears sandals and workout gear all the time, and so they make her pretty much. It's not really that she's an ugly duckling and they're trying to make her into a swan, but they just try to make her wear more flattering clothes, things like that. They don't go as, drastic as she's all that, and have to get a haircut and a makeover and all that kind of stuff. They just basically help her wear more flattering clothes and things like that all the time, and put her in situations where she's noticed by the guy of her dreams. And then, of course, as it always happens, these two spend so much time together, and he has to teach her kissing, and he has to teach her all this kind of stuff. They end up falling for each other, and that's where the fun part of the book actually happens.
And I think that's what's kind of funny. Like you said, like she wears the sandals, but the thing that threw him off was the scrunchie. She's like, she has a scrunchie in her hair, and I'm like, I have several of those scrunchies still, and I still have the Adidas flip flops from when I played.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's funny is that it's pretty realistic, and I like Ian's way of like he's not taking the ugly duckling. Most of these women are fairly attractive. They just needed a push to get the guy and to get the guy that they want. And he said, and he was really proud of when he always got wedding invitations and baby announcements from his former clients
Yeah.
because it worked. And I think that's what's kind of cool about the book.
Yeah, I really liked the way that they approached the matchmaking part of it anyway. They have this playbook of, different rules, different things that they do to help, them get their attention and things like that. So it's really cool. But Ian, our book boyfriend, he's something else. Ian is basically one of those cocky frat boys that always gets his way, and he was in the NFL, so he was this big name celebrity, whatever type thing, and then he got injured, but he got injured in a way that it was like he became a hero in a way that he did it because he jumped out in front of a car to save a kid's life, and that's how he got his career-ending injury, which would be hard enough if you had a career-ending injury, but doing something so heroic, but not everybody really knowing about it, or he didn't want that to be in the press or things like that. So he had this kind of he put up a front to protect himself from that. So the cockiness was even higher. So he pretty much cranked it to 11 to really cover all of this stuff and make it different. But Ian, throughout this book, his transformation is kind of one of the best reasons that he's our book boyfriend. Like, he starts out with this super cocky attitude, and then he runs into Blake, sorry, that is completely not falling for any of his crap. She just gives her right back. She doesn't take anything from him. She doesn't. And their banter and their back and forth is kind of one of the reasons that he's a great book boyfriend in this book. The way he treats her, the way he helps her, the way kind of goes with him. What did you think of Ian in this book?
Well, and that's kind of why I liked Ian is like you hear how he got this career-ending injury, and then you're like, oh, what a nice man because he always gave his NFL tickets to like a deserving family, and then he saves his family. And but I think as he evolved with Blake, it was really fun because he has his friend Lex, and then he has his friend Gabby, and Gabby is just like his childhood friend. She's just this person that he always goes to, and he always has protected her since they were children. And then there's Lex, and so they have this friendship, and then Blake is kind of thrown into it because Blake is their new client, and he's like, she's wearing slippers, she has a scrunchie, and this is a hot mess. But as he starts to get her to peel back herself, he finds out that she's a lot in common with him.
Yeah.
She wasn't always this sporty athlete. She grew up in Riggins, Idaho, which I've been multiple times to Riggins, Idaho. And she's an athlete, but she changed because of something tragic in her life. And it's when she lost her brother, and that's how she kind of kept his spirit alive. And I think that's where they connected.
Yeah.
But then their banter, and like she's like, "Oh, is this part of the playbook? This play, blah blah blah." And I think it was kind of funny because he met his match with the playbook because she understood playbooks because she's an athlete. And so for them, when they were doing like certain things, she's like, "Oh, is this part of, section A, part B?" And I think it was kind of funny because she kind of just threw it right back at him, and he's like, "Are you kidding me? She knows my book." And then she's never really been kissed, and so when he kisses her, he was like, "This is just going to be, oh my God, it's another kiss." And he's never felt like when he kissed her that this was more. And I think that's what changed him. I'm like, and then he kept changing throughout the book. And there was problems, lack of communication. There was a
Yeah.
little bit of he thought and she thought. And so they kind of went through that. But in the ultimate end, they are actually the perfect match, even
Yeah.
though according to the system, they weren't, but they were the perfect match for each other. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so too. The fact that she could handle these hard workouts and became a workout buddy with him, and she could also put up with his movies. She could put up with him pretty much anything, and put
Mm-hmm.
up with his crap and not take it and give it right back. It really, even though they had like a low compatibility score or whatever through the numbers that they ran, I don't think that always is the case. Like the numbers can lie sometimes because these two are definitely perfect for each other. They were, if there's anyone to go toe to toe with him, I think that they would have to be Blake because just the way that they banter back and forth. She's the only one that can really put him in his place. I mean, after they first met when he walked into her bathroom to take a shower, and he pretty much threw himself at her, expecting all girls fall at my feet, and she just pretty much, hit him in the face with a pillow and was like, "No, get out."
No.
So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that one of my favorite parts of this book is really the conversations, the banter, the humor, all of it is, and that's one of the things that Rachel does really well, is making this kind of angsty-ish love story. It's one of those books that I guess technically is a love triangle because she's the client, she's trying to get this guy David, but her and Ian kind of have this thing going on. But it's not really a love story because as soon as she kisses Ian, she knows she doesn't really want this David guy anymore, and so it's not really a love triangle or anything like that. So, but the way that she handles everything, like the talk of the workouts, everything else in it is just absolutely hilarious.
And I think it's kind of cool. Did you do the movie Emotion
Not yet,
or the
but I looked at it so this book is really cool. It's one of the first to ever have it has moving pictures and things like that if you read on a Kindle device or a Kindle app. So the first time, I am easily distracted, very easily distracted. So I started reading it on my Kindle Fire because it has the pretty images and it has the pretty thing on it. And the movie, half of the page is the text and half of the page is the movie, and it keeps moving, so it keeps catching my eye moving. So I had to switch to my Kindle Paperwhite to read it. So I read it the first time on the Kindle Paperwhite, but then when you go back through it, I went back through it and I looked at all the different images and the movies and all the little things and it just made it so much better. The movie that was playing in my head from this book already is right there on the page, and that's really cool. And then, so one of the other things is we found out shortly after it was published that it's actually going to be a movie, which is even cooler that you could just see this story, this hilarious, angsty, fun story. It's going to be a movie. I think it's going to be a great movie just because of the story itself. It was so funny. It's a really true romantic comedy, which is one of my favorite things about Rachel's writing, is that she really does the romantic comedies well, which is sometimes really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you get a book that'll make you laugh a couple times, but with this one, I mean, weren't you laughing out loud like almost every page? Like something someone did or something someone said is hysterical.
The best part was when they were playing volleyball against each other, and she totally just kicked his ass on it, and I was dying laughing because, as playing sports and then wanting to play your better half or your significant other, I always wanted to kick my husband's butt in something, and Blake did it, and I was like, damn this, and I was laughing, like I had tears, I was laughing so hard about it, and and it's one of those during the motion or the Kindle motion, I had to show my husband, like, oh my gosh, let me read this to you. And he was laughing and he was like, what are you reading? And so it's kind of fun because he was interactive because he was watching the Kindle motion as I was reading it and he thought it was cool. And so it was kind of fun because there's so much humor, but there's this romance too. And I think that's why I liked it so much, is because it was sports related. There was the humor, there was the romance, but it just kind of all just kind of came together, because sometimes when you read that you're like, I'm missing something, and this one I didn't miss anything. I actually enjoyed it.
No, I mean, I completely loved Blake and I completely loved Ian, and then when they were together, it was so good. The Kindle in Motion, like I said, if I wasn't so easily distracted, it was really cool. It was a really cool addition to it. I mean, sometimes it was just somebody like shaking their head or a look or whatever, but it's just like what you see in your head and it's on the page. It's just so cool to kind of move that direction. And I think it was a really awesome idea when they went to do this, and I'm really excited about it. I'll try to do a couple screenshots of the thing to add into our movie so you can see at the end of the video kind of what we're talking about. But hopefully you pick up these books. They're great. The paperbacks are gorgeous. The models are, I love these books. They're so pretty. And then even, they have the little playbooks on the back. It's so funny. But the Kindle in Motion is really, really cool. I encourage you to either take a look at it. There's some stills or there's some stuff on the Kindle page if you want to look at it there. And then we'll have a couple of them at the end of our video. But it's something to check out. We'll have all the information for the book, the descriptions, more about Rachel, and our exciting news, in case you missed it.
We are going to interview Rachel in a week, so it's going to be really exciting, guys. We're doing a live interview with Rachel live to us. But so hopefully you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch the interview. I'm so excited to interview my fellow Idahoan.
And then next week we'll be back to talk about the second book in this series, The Matchmaker's Replacement, about the best friends, Gabby and Lex, which this book was hysterical as well, so hopefully you join us for that. It also has a Kindle in Motion, so we'll have some shots of that as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you pick up these books. I highly, highly, highly recommend them. They are hysterical. It was a really fun read. I couldn't tell enough people to buy them when they came out. So it was definitely worth it. It's definitely something to check out. And then we'll see you next week. And then we'll also have our interview with Rachel. So thank you for joining us. And please subscribe. And join us on our Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.